we're going to get going. We are going to start off with talking a little bit more of the FIA 100% voting campaign and how are we going to get this back to our site. And also, we're going to have the rest of the time to celebrate and celebrate you and your achievement here during the last 4 weeks.
It's like that pump that they put. I think the pump in the middle or whatever.
Okay, get going. So, who remembers this number? 14,000.
Nah.
Thumbs up if you remember this number. So this number is the number of charter families that we have here in Oakland Unified School District. So what would be different if 100% of the families of our 14,000 charter families spoke out as one united voice? So what would happen if these 14,000 families would go out, would be informed and go out and vote for the November 3rd election? So we see a lot of things would be happening. We will be seeing change. Thank you, Jamila. We would have at least 2 times the power, hold power. It would make a difference for our communities and our students. Thank you, Jenny and Danae. That is exactly right. So we want to see the change. We want to see that those 14,000 families go out, go vote, and get informed of what this election means and what this election holds and the power that we have as parents if we go out there and we're informed and if we go out and turn out more people to vote. So just want to leave you with that before we jump into how our campaign looks like. Just a little refresher. And we could go to the next slide, Kimmy. Okay, so we talked about this Tuesday. We have 4 phases to the campaign. We really wanted to break it down and talk a little bit more of the 4 phases. 1 is the outreach and building relationships. 2 is the school site action meetings. 3 is the FIA Citywide Summit. And 4 is making sure we're getting out the vote. And we get to celebrate at the end as well. But we really want to focus today on our outreach and building leadership. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next couple minutes. So you probably received these slides on your email, but we're going to be working on crafting our one-on-one outreach conversation. So if you don't have a pen and paper available, you have your computer in front of you, be ready to type. Go grab a pen, go grab a paper if that's what you prefer to use, because we're going to be crafting our conversation. So if you guys are ready with that, can I get some thumbs up or some yeses on the chat box? Because we're going to get ready to. Yes, thank you, Mia. Okay. Ready. Yes.
So, I apologize if I'm eating. Sorry, I haven't ate all day, so sorry.
No worries. Okay, I see people are getting ready too. And it's okay if you guys can't take notes right now. Just I see that Maida it's driving, so it's okay. You'll have this information and we'll be able to craft our plans even when we're working with our groups. So if we could go to the next slide. Okay, so how are we going to craft these one-on-one conversations? So we also wanted to break it down for everyone. We want to make sure that we talk about the purpose of our conversation. Who are we? The why and the ask. So when we're having conversations with others, we're able to knock those out and make sure that our conversation is purposeful and we're able to get them engaged. And at the end, we get them involved. Okay, we could go to the next slide. So again, the 4 parts is the purpose, who are we, the why, and the ask. So we want to make sure we broke it down into 4 parts. Next slide. Okay, so this is what I'm going to give you back. So when we talk about the purpose, we really want to make sure we understand what is the purpose of my conversation when I'm having a conversation with others. How are we going to have, a conversation with someone you know? who are we? Why does FIA exist? And what are we all about? So I'm going to ask for us to take 3 minutes to write our own messages and reflect on what we've learned, reflect on the conversations that we had during our work group breakout, and get you guys to craft your own plan. So the purpose and who are we? And we have some questions in front of us that can help us write our message. Okay. So when you're getting ready to wrap up, I have my timer here as well. Just get some thumbs up in the chat box as well. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them up on the chat box or just ask. Okay.
Maria, I was just going to say we have a question in the chat box of just like not really sure what this conversation is supposed to be about.
Okay, let's take a step back. So this is a great question, and I think I should cover it. So when we talk about outreach, we talk about building a stronger team, and how are we going to get other folks involved? We talked about how are we going to reach out to 3 or 5 parents that you know to get involved in this campaign. So the purpose of crafting this message is to reach out to those folks who you think might want to be part of this this campaign and this bigger movement. So the reason that we're crafting this campaign, this one-on-one conversation plan, is for us to be able to have a conversation written down, and that will guide us to have a conversation with someone that we already know that might want to get involved. So the goal of this conversation is to reach out to someone so that they're able to join us at our next meeting, so that they could hear more of the campaign that we're working on. You don't have to create a lot of details. Just like, hey, this is something that I really liked, and I think that you will also like. But we want to make sure that we're breaking down this conversation, so that when you're having the conversation with someone that you know, you already have a strategy of how to go about it. And again, this is just something that we're writing down. When you're talking to your friends, you're obviously not going to use the script because it's not going to flow as nicely as just talking, but it is going to help as a guide for like, okay, this is the purpose of my conversation, and I want to make sure that this is the outcome after, and we'll talk about that as well. So we've been working on this, and I know I just clarified, but if there's anyone who wants to share a little bit of what you wrote about the purpose of the purpose of the conversation that you will have, and who are we? So if anyone's ready to share, I would like to hear at least from 2 people.
Bueno, yo ya terminé. ¿Puedo hablar si quieres?
Claro.
Ok, nuestro propósito, ¿cuál es el propósito de nosotros, de nuestra organización? Pues para mí el propósito es ser padres con liderazgo y tenemos que promover el voto, en este caso, en estos momentos, con toda la gente que puede votar para que hagamos efecto todos nuestros derechos que tenemos, porque votando la gente que puede, podemos hacer que salgan muchas cosas buenas para nosotros y hay muchas proposiciones que están en contra de nosotros y podemos con el voto hacer que esas proposiciones no pasen, sino que pasen nada más las que es para un buen beneficio para todos los niños y en particular para las escuelas charter. Entonces, por eso hoy traigo esta gorra y esta playera, para que todo el día anduve con ella, fui a hacer unas cosas a la tienda y anduve con ella para que la gente vea por lo menos que tienen que votar los que pueden, ¿verdad? Ese es el propósito de todo esto, pienso, el promover
Claro.
y hacer ver que la gente tenga conciencia.
Muchas gracias.
Y por
So,
otro lado, ¿quiénes somos? Somos una organización que lleva el nombre de FIA y nuestro propósito es prepararnos más, capacitarnos más para tener mucho más poder y conocimientos y hacer poder así valer nuestros derechos ante todo mundo y todo lugar y así poder con esa sabiduría y capacitación poder representar a toda nuestra gente, a todas nuestras escuelas y ser padres con más poder. ¿Sí?
muchas gracias.
Gracias.
So voy a traducir rapidito. I'm going to translate really quick. So what Mario shared is the purpose is, we want to be a parent with leadership and share information to other voters so that they can vote and protect our schools. He also shared, we are an organization that prepares and builds power so that our schools can be represented and not only our schools, but our students and our community. So he shared the purpose and who we are. Thank you so much, Mario. Is there anyone else who wants to share? I want to hear from one more person before we move on to the next part.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
¿Se escucha? ¿Se oye? Ok. Primeramente, trabajar en comunidad para no estar ignorando todo lo que está sucediendo al contorno del presente. Y pues el propósito es trabajar desde ahorita para las nuevas generaciones. Gracias.
Yes, muchas gracias. So what Norma just shared is that we can work in community and together to work as a community to protect our schools. And that's part of the purpose. Muchas gracias, Norma. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next two parts of our conversation. And you guys could also get ready to craft your own message on the why. Why is this a personal connection? What's your personal connection to the work? And why is this work important to you? And also the ask, would you be interested in learning more and being involved? Can you join us for the next meeting? So when crafting your message, how will you put together why you're involved? Why is this important? And also, how would you ask your friend, your school leader, school parent like you to join and get involved? And I'll give you 3 minutes as well so we could craft our message. And then I want to hear from two other folks that we haven't heard from. Sí, claro, Maria. I could say it in English. Maria just asked if I could just review a little bit more of what we're doing, the work that we're doing, and I'm happy to share again. So what we're doing is crafting a message. So when we do our outreach to our friends, our other charter families that would like to join the efforts of joining our campaign. So what we're doing is just crafting a message. So when we have a conversation, we know the flow of the conversation, and we start off with a purpose, explaining who we are, talking about why this work is important, and finalizing with an ask so that they're able to join. So right now we're working on the why and the ask, but no worries, we're going to be putting it all together in a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to start to ask who would like to share on the why and the ask that you've created.
Is it all right if I share?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I put for the why. They asked some sort of like iffy on it, but for why is the reason I'm personally connected it because it directly affects me and my two younger siblings. If I know that the legislators and the board members that we've had before don't really care about charter schools and don't really help us, who else will? The people who we elected or the people out from what we see in charter people with power don't really vote. We need to make this change so people who are being directly affected by it vote, and we can change the outcome of what happens in my school, my friend's school, or anybody else's school, because we've seen that people simply don't care about the education of their children or the people they're supposed to be representing. And the ask, something that I put is knowing this, is there anything that changes your opinion or changes what you can do to help us, even if it doesn't directly affect you? Would you still be willing to help us to better the future of not only me and my siblings, but future generations that are going to go to the same schools I went or different ones, if your vote does help and support us?
Wow, Carlos, good job. That's powerful. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? One more person.
I'll share
Yes. Go ahead.
if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I would like to talk about how I recently found out that my great-grandmothers could not read or write. My grandmother had a 4th grade education, and when she came from Puerto Rico to New York City with my father, he was denied the chance to even go to a good school because he had a congenital heart defect. So they had him making pot holders. And she fought really hard to get him into a better school. And after they let him in, they didn't let, at first they didn't let him in because of being afrodescendiente. So he was a Black Latino and they refused to let him in. But after a while, they did let him in. And he actually ended up graduating and becoming an engineer. But then when I was looking for a school for my children, I drove 3 hours every day to and from school to get my children out of the school that they were in. And I really believe in charter schools where great things are happening. And I think that we should want for all children what we would want for our own. And I think you have great ideas, and I would love if you could join me at the next meeting that we're having on August 15th. So if you would be interested in joining us, we'd love to have you.
That's amazing. You have a very powerful personal story. And I think those are the ones that touch hearts and also mobilize other folks to get involved. So thank you for sharing. I hope everyone keeps on crafting your plan. But we do want to go on to the next slide because we want to do a one-on-one conversation. So Javi and I will be taking this on. So you guys can look what and see what might a conversation look like. So Javi, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
Maria, is there anything you want people to be looking for when you guys are doing your conversation?
Yeah, I think seeing the flow of how this conversation goes, it is not going to look the same for everyone. We're all going to have our own stories. And also looking at the ask. How are we going to do the ask for them to get involved?
Okay, sounds good.
Maria, I have one question before we start. Do you want me to take this as a parent or a student perspective?
Whatever you feel comfortable. We could do both.
All right.
Student?
I'll go parent first.
Parent first, okay. Hi, Javier, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Hey, listen, I'm calling you because I wanted to tell you more about some work that I'm doing with an organization called Families in Actions that I'm involved with. Do you have 5 minutes?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm involved with this organization called Families in Action, which is an organization that's bringing families across our district together to empower them and to. Our first campaign is actually getting involved with a voting campaign to make sure that our charter parents know what's going on and are able to go out to vote this November.
Yeah, for the presidential elections, or
yeah, so they're linked together with the presidential elections, but what we're focusing on, because a lot of people know about the presidential elections, but they don't really know about school board elections. So that's the election that we're focusing on.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, we are a group of parents and students that believe in building power through unity. So we want to make sure that we continue to advocate for high quality education here in Oakland, and we want to make sure that part of the unity and advocacy comes with being involved in this election. You know,
do you guys have people working at, my son goes to a lighthouse right now. Do you guys have people organizing there? Or?
Oh yeah, we have a mighty group of parents and students that are part of this campaign. And I think that this reflects why the work is so important. We have already a big power, but we know that this work is important to us because we know and we understand that Oakland Unified School District has a lot of power and a lot of say on our charter schools. So Oakland Unified School District is the one, that's where the school board election is happening. And this election determines who represents our schools. That's why we want to make sure that our charter community is going out to vote, because if we don't get involved, we don't get the right person or the right people elected. So we want to make sure that we have parents and students involved and knowing the importance of going out to vote.
So how can me and my student get involved?
Yeah, I mean, we have meetings right now. We're doing district meetings where we're bringing not only ourselves from Lighthouse, but other parents from our district that go to different schools. We're getting together, and we would like for you to join this district meeting where parents and students will join us to learn more about the importance of this election. So we'll break it down a little bit more during this meeting. So can you join us? It's going to happen. This meeting will be next week at 4:30. Is that something that you would like to join?
Yeah, I can definitely join. Would it be virtual?
Yeah, it's all virtual. Cool. We're going to have I'll be more than happy to forward you the information and get your contact information and also pass it on to our leaders.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Good. Well, I'm excited. And also thank you for taking my call, because I'm excited that you're going to be able to join us to do this amazing work.
Thank you for giving me this information. Okay.
Thank you, Javi.
Cut.
Okay, guys. So that was our sample conversation, and that's how we want your conversations to look like. We're working on a script, but make your conversation yours. You guys take the lead. We want to make sure we craft our message around the purpose, who we are, the why, and then finally the ask. And we want to make sure that we get a yes for them to be able to join. And we don't have to overwhelm them with information, basic points, and come and learn more. Yes. So can we go to the next slide? Oh. Yeah, so before we go on to the next part, just want to make sure that if anyone has any questions for crafting the plan, we want to make sure that we're talking to our parents and our friends and making the invite for these district meetings that are happening. Okay, Kimmy, I think we're good. Do you want to talk about scholarship opportunities?
I think we should probably get into the small groups and touch back on that when we get back, just so we get a little time for people to break out.
Yes, yes. Okay, so what we're going to do the same breakouts we had on Tuesday. We're going to break out by district. We want to talk about, we want you to practice your one-on-one now that you have it, your script together. Also, we're going to plan on who are we going to be reaching out to. And also these district meetings are happening. We want you guys as leaders who are part of these trainings to also be involved and help us co-lead the training. And when we come back, we're going to do a really quick report out on the goal we want to have, that you want to invite your friends, your families over to the district meeting. So what's your goal overall altogether of turnout? So we're going to go ahead and do the breakout, and we'll come back in a little bit.